What would you say to these neighbors who are demanding the city force Martin to remove the rink?
Why do they want to do it?
It's magical to me, and why anybody would want to stop anything like this is completely beyond me.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Markham, Ontario. And folks, we're back at the residence of Martin Ross. As you know from our previous reports, this beautiful backyard hockey rink, well, the City of Markham is on a jihad against it. They want it gone. And the deadline is coming up soon, less than a week. And if Martin doesn't take out the hockey rink, well, the city will do it for him. And wow, are they going to make Martin Ross pay? Well, we have some updates to this story, some just incredible news. For starters, Martin, the city first of all said it's going to be $500,000 to remove this little backyard hockey rink. And then, well, I guess they, sharpened their pencils and they came up with a $148,000 discount for you. Right now, it's $352,000. That's still an outrageous sum. You did some shopping around going to demolition companies. What have you got to report in terms of their estimate to do this job?
Well, I've talked to quite a few different contractors, but I just received a quote today, a written quote, for $59,000 from a very reputable company to do the same work. Now, I don't even want any of the work done. I want to leave my rink. Right. That's my main objective for the kids. But yeah, I've gotten a quote of $59,000.
How in blue hell can this company do the job for $59,000 and the City of Markham wants, more than 6 times as much to do the exact same job? It reminds me of the infamous $549 military hammer. Or is there something sinister here? Has the City of Markham, because I think they have a vendetta against you, my friend, have they specifically sought out the highest quotes as opposed to the lowest?
They're going to search out the 3 most expensive contractors in Ontario, and I think they didn't even look at 2 and 3. I think they just went to number 1 right at the top. Anybody could tell you that $352,000 to basically remove a cement pad is crazy.
Another person that's driving this, it's your local councillor, Reid McAlpine. You had told me that you had a conversation with him where he said that 8 neighbors had complained, and that translates into 8 of their votes versus 1 of yours. So it has nothing to do with what's right or wrong, nothing to do with what's ethical or moral. It's simply about vote harvesting. Have you had any more discussions with Councillor McAlpine?
No, I haven't, and you're correct. He did say to me he's a politician, and this all started during the election year, the campaign year. And he said, I'm a politician, and their votes count as 8, and yours counts as 1. It was brought up in court several times. Their lawyers never denied that allegation. They never defended it. They never denied it.
Here's where things get even more interesting. Your neighbor, who has also a heritage house, because this is what it's all about. Evidently, this is offside, putting a backyard rink in the backyard of a heritage property in Markham, even though you can't see it from the street. Yeah. It's impossible. Your neighbor, they're the Gagnons. They have put an extension, a physical extension on their house. I see it with my own eyes right here. They have erected a large guest house. They have physically altered the property with a permanent structure. That went through. They're the ringleaders for the complainants to get the rink gone. And lo and behold, you did a little research for me, and they are financial donors to Councillor McAlpine's campaign.
Well, I guess money talks and BS runs the marathon, and who knows, maybe if I donated to the councillor's campaign, you and I might not be standing here. They have the exact same heritage easement agreement, the exact same language, and they were given approval for the extension. They were given approval for a 2-story guest house. They have a swimming pool. I don't know why my rink and my little collapsible storage shed should be any different. We did reapply again for another permit, and the city just said to us, we're not even, they took my money, they took my application. The Heritage Department came here and met with me to go over the different aspects of the application. And, once I handed in my money, once I handed in my permit and my drawings and everything, they came back and said, we're not even going to accept it.
We're all about getting the other side of the story. And folks, you know, last month we went to Markham City Council. We tracked down Councillor McAlpine. Not only would he not say anything to us, he had security frog marches out City Hall. Check it out. Mr. McAlpine, did you say to Mr. Ross that 8 people complained and that would equate to 8 votes?
You're going to have to leave. This is a council
ask you
meeting.
that.
We're in private session right now.
You can wait outside.
Okay, then. They are not responding. And how about, is Mr. Seaman available, sir?
You have to call his assistant, make it a schedule. I don't know what his schedule is.
No comment from him. I think that's very cowardly. He's a public servant. Yep. He should answer these questions, but they won't. And speaking of answering questions, Martin, and maybe this has everything to do with you and the Save the Rink campaign, I phoned the City of Markham this morning and I spoke to a receptionist, and they have a new policy. They will not connect you directly with any city staffers. And I do have a audio recording of this, folks. You're not going to believe this.
Unfortunately, we don't transfer calls anymore.
I thought the people at City Hall work for the people, the taxpayers. Apparently, that's not the case here in Markham.
No, and you know, like if I even try and get questions answered and don't feel any more privileged, every media person that's been on this, they're not getting any answers or any questions. Even general people in the neighborhood that have approached Mr. McAlpine, you know, about what's going on, he just says, oh, I can't comment on it.
Yeah.
So if there's something nefarious going on here in my yard that's, you know, a solid rock to stand on or solid concrete to stand on, they would gladly talk about it.
We have also reached out to Mayor Scarpiti, no comment. And we have reached out to Graham Seaman. He is the bureaucrat who was authoring the threat letters to you, the legal threat letters to you. Last year, he made over $192,000, claimed almost $10,000 in benefits. Wow, your tax dollars hard at work.
He won't answer any of my phone calls or anybody's phone calls. The new letters that I'm getting now from the City of Markham pertaining to anything, nobody signs it. They just put on the bottom, you know, signed by the corporation of the City of Markham. They don't put anybody's name on it. The neighbors right here, she once said to me, I would rather look at your trees than have to look at your rink. Now, for them to be able to look at my rink, they can't see it from ground level. They'd have to be sitting up in their bedroom with a chair up against the window 8 hours a day looking at my rink. One neighbor back here asked him what his beef was. He said, I don't want to hear a bunch of kids playing hockey outside. Another neighbor said to me, you know, who's now sold and moved, once said, I don't care what you do in your backyard, just as long as it looks good. This is here for my kids to train, their friends, any other kids that I happen to be lucky enough to coach, like Dante, who, you know, just showed up here. I met him, I'm going to say 3 years ago now. He's a great kid. He's from the Jane and Finch neighborhood. And Dante came to me when I was doing a Learn to Skate development program for the Duffield Devils organization. And, you know, I kind of remember him his very first day where he couldn't skate very well, just kind of shuffling out there. You know, his mom's from St. Lucia, and he came out there with, I don't even know, I'd have to ask her where she got these old Lang skates, you know, and he was out there trying his best, and the heel was breaking out of the back of the boot and everything. And he's worked his butt off. You know, he skates with my son, and you know, I'm very proud of the development. He's come a long way. Like I'd love to show a video of how well he skates and how well he competes and how well he plays now. He's up to the single A level, but I think he will get a little bit further. And the support that he gets from his entire family when they come and watch. Sometimes his mom's the loudest one in the rink, you know, and they're wonderful people, and I'm so proud of him, and I love it when he comes up here. And he lives on the west side of Driftwood, and I threaten him every day. I say, if I see you on that other side of Driftwood, that's it. You're not doing doing hockey anymore, but it's just he comes up here quite a bit to skate, and I love having him up here.
Well, folks, I'm with some of the players that make use of this hockey rink, and hopefully they'll make use of it in the future if this story has a happy ending. We've got CJ, John, and the aforementioned Dante. Now, Dante, let's start with you first. What attracted you to hockey, and how has your progress been?
My progress has been good.
If you could speak to the neighbors who are campaigning at City Hall to get this torn down, what would you say to them?
Why?
They should keep it. It's the best sport and best place.
They don't like hockey or something like that?
Geez, that's downright un-Canadian, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did a story many years ago about the late great mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford, and he ran his pride and joy was running the football team at Don Bosco School. And City Council did everything they could to shut that down, and they did. But I covered a game. It was Don Bosco at St. Michael's, and I was interviewing the parents in the stands, and I'll never forget what one mom said, and that is, if not for Rob Ford and this football program, my son would either be A, in jail, or B, dead. And what she was getting at, it was more than a weekly game of football. Every day they're practicing. So at the end of the day, the kids would come home. As soon as their head hits the pillow, they're out like a light. They don't have time to hang around the mall causing trouble. And they shut that down. They're trying to shut this down. So where is the love? Where is the spirit of giving back to the community and helping young lads, pursue their athletic dreams?
Yeah, and I say this to parents all the time. I say the money that you spend on your kids in hockey and the time that you spend on it is a lot less than the money you're going to spend with lawyers later on to get them out of trouble. And I'm not saying they're all going to get into trouble or whatever, but kids need to be kept busy.
The deadline for the rink removal set by the City of Markham is November 18th. That's next Monday. You, I understand, in the days ahead, are going to go to court seeking an injunction. What are you and your lawyer hoping to achieve?
Well, we're just hoping to get them to pump the brakes on coming here. Court hasn't been kind to me the few times that we've already gone to fight this, but we're hoping to get an injunction so they can at least process our application, which they said we're not even going to process. And then once they turn it down, it gives us permission to take it to the OLT, which is the Ontario Land Tribunal, for them to review. And we can say, all right, well, the neighbors were allowed to do an extension. The neighbors are allowed to do a guest house. So how can I not get permission from the city to do a rink and, a small little storage shed / cabana?
I have reached out again by email. It's the Christmas miracle. They actually responded that somebody from media relations is going to get back in touch with me. Hopefully it's by my deadline. I'm going to make a prediction, Martin. They're going to answer the questions without answering the questions. It'll be some, wishy-washy statement without giving me any tangible information. But we'll see. If they get to me before deadline, we will read their statement aloud.
They still haven't given me procedure of construction. They haven't given me the schedule of construction. They haven't told me who the company is that's coming in doing it. They haven't told me what my backyard's going to look like. Who are the people that are coming here? Do they have vulnerable? I got children here. Do they all have vulnerable sector checks coming into my backyard? I want a breakdown of the costs. They've given me none of that. They just say they're here Monday. So what if they come here on Monday and say, we got to take down your whole garage to take this rink out, and they start ripping out my garage? What rights do I have to stand on here?
Logistically, that's a nightmare. But Martin, don't be so demanding on the city. Graham Seaman only makes $192,000 a year plus benefits. Martin, we're going to continue following this story. By the way, folks, if you want to make your voices heard, sign our petition at savetherink.ca. That's savetherink.ca. Once we get a critical mass of signatures, we'll hand deliver it to the City of Markham. Look at the faces of these kids. And I know the City of Markham, I know you bullies are watching these videos. Look at the kind of people you're denying pleasure to. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Give your heads a shake. Come back to Martin. Cut some sort of a deal. And don't listen to these nosy Parkers and these Karens that are waging war on our official national sport. It is egregious and outrageous, and we're going to help Martin every step of the way. Hopefully, you will do the right thing. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey, folks, enough with the government overreach affecting our lives in a detrimental way. If you feel like we do about this beautiful backyard rink, please go to savetherink.ca. That's savetherink.ca. Sign the petition. We will hand deliver it to the Mayor of Markham himself. Look at these lads. Who in their right mind would want to deprive them of playing hockey? But that's what's going on in the city of Markham. It's shameful. I hope you agree. Please sign the petition at savetherink.ca.